It's my long overdue return to Turnip28, and just in time, Max has gifted us with the new Turnip28 expansion rules, the Shattered Lance. More campaign rules, 6 new cults, and a new form of terrain, all of which is free by the way. Take notes, GW. The relic rules in particular are really cool because they add new ways to customize your units. I'm particularly interested in the banners. Any excuse to make more banners. If you're excited about the new Turnip28 expansion too, consider subscribing to the channel, because I have a lot of turnip content planned for the future. As soon as I saw the Beekeepers of Bhirr, I got very excited, so today I'm making a 6-man unit of Hive Brethren. An acquaintance of mine on Instagram was nice enough to print out some of the official models and send them to me. Big shout out to Silver Nitrate. This is a long overdue thank you. The first step of our project takes place in the kitchen. When working with 3D prints, I always start out by cleaning up the models by scrubbing them down with some very diluted soapy water. So I'm using an old toothbrush to wipe them down and then drying them on a paper towel. I'm not entirely sure why, but I've heard this gets rid of some of the residue left behind by the 3D printing process, and in my experience it makes it easier for the glue to bind everything together. Once the minis were dry again, I noticed a few little bits that I needed to clean up with my hobby knife, mostly on the bayonets. But once that was done, it was time to start putting the minis together. I'm just dry fitting the parts, adding a little drop of super glue, and then holding the piece in place for about 30 seconds. Most beekeepers are getting a musket, but one of them is getting a little beehive. I'm pretty sure this beehive represents the Hive Pot Grenades, which is one of the new cult relics. It lets units shoot at enemy units within terrain more accurately by reducing their inaccuracy by 1. I'm pretty sure that means they're chucking a hive at the enemy unit and just letting the bees go nuts.
Not the bees! Ah! Open my eyes! My eyes!
By the way, as much as I love Nick Cage and find the remake of The Wicker Man really funny from a bad movie perspective, as a fan of the original Wicker Man, it's incredibly disappointing. At least we got moments like this, though. Dumb movie. Anyway, I have 3 hive backpacks which look amazing, but for the other 3 beekeepers, I have to use some extra Napoleonic bits that I've got. I'm just trimming down some backpacks from a French Napoleonics kit and trimming off the coattails. Then I'm dry fitting and gluing the backpack to the beekeeper's back. Instead of basing these guys on individual bases, I'm going to do a big group base using a bit of plasticard. Then in game, instead of removing one soldier at a time, I'll just tick down kills with a dice. I've been enjoying using this strategy for basing because it lets you stack the soldiers a little closer to make them feel like a unit, and you can almost make it a tiny little diorama. I did realize that it would be easier to paint everything if I waited to glue them down until later on, so I had to pull them back off for now while I prepare the base and paint everything. I have a standard terrain paste recipe I use for basically all of my projects: sand, Mod Podge, and a bit of paint. I add more sand to make the paste thicker, or more Mod Podge to make it runnier. In this case, I needed a bit more Mod Podge to get that perfect oatmeal-like consistency. I'm slathering the paste all over the base, trying to keep it mostly level and even. Now I'll set this aside and let it dry. I also wanted to add a bit of grit to the beekeepers themselves, so I'm using a dirty old brush to just add a bit of the paste here and there to the models, mostly towards the lower parts of the model to simulate slogging through all the mud on the Cyst battlefields. After that, I went ahead and primed the models off screen. I'm going to primarily be using wet blending to achieve the look I want for the beekeeper's robes. The idea with wet blending is that you're essentially mixing the paint on the model. Basically, you place wet paint of one color on the model, then place wet paint of a second color right next to it, and finally, you take a clean wet brush and use this to mix the 2 paints together right on the model. This lets you really quickly achieve fairly smooth blends and allows you to create really interesting transitions between colors. The more traditional method for achieving effects like this would be to use a combination of many layers of paint in the form of layers and glazes. I'm not necessarily the greatest at the wet blending technique yet though, because I have a tendency to overwork the paint. The key is to get your mix done in the transition area, then let it fully dry. If you don't let it dry, you can end up over-thinning the paint and letting some of the undercoat show through. Another thing that can happen is losing too much of your original colors as you work the transition color too far into each color, kind of turning the whole model just the one color. At the end of the day, you can never really fully ruin a paint job, as you can always layer more paint over the top until you get the look you want. So don't worry too much if you aren't happy at first. I kinda tend to do that, and ultimately use a few layers of wet blending as I redo my work until I get the look that I want. For the hives, I started out with yellow ochre and kind of thought, this is a little too yellow compared to real hives. Take a look at these wasp nests that I saved from last summer to use for real-world reference. Just think, all of these beautiful shapes were created by wasps chewing up wood fibers and binding them together with their saliva. Ugh. To achieve a more natural look, I decided to mix more of a desaturated tan color. I could have used more of a dry brush technique here rather than essentially just base coating the piece, because the hives do have some nice texture and raised areas, but we'll achieve a similar effect later on when we wash the model, and that will darken down the recesses. I'm using a lot of muted and desaturated colors for these guys. For the wicker masks, I'm using a light umber over the top of a dark warm brown, and for the rope belts, I'm using another desaturated tan color. Instead of using a metallic paint for the guns, I'm deciding to do some rough non-metallic metal. I've been doing a ton of NMM work on a project that I've been working on for competition, and that's kind of helped me feel more confident about just using the technique on all of my projects. The key thing that I think about is just asking, how would this shape reflect light? The gun barrels are cylinders, so you get a vertical line running along the cylinder where the light would reflect. I base coated the barrels with coal black, then used increasingly brighter shades of gray to highlight in a vertical line along the gun barrel. The little lamp this guy is holding will follow the same plan. It's also a cylinder, so I'm picking a vertical line to place my highlights along, and just using increasingly bright grays in progressively smaller areas along that line. Just a couple of other little details to pick out, then we can move on to the wash. The bedroll on some of their backs, I'm making a similar color to their robes, and very carefully painting the bedroll while avoiding the straps holding it to the backpack. The straps I'm painting with light umber, and the clasps get the same treatment as the rest of the metal bits. We also have these wall segments with hives and bees that we'll be including on the base, so I'm going to paint those up real quick too. I'm just using a series of dry brushes with gray on the stones, going from a dark gray up to a bright gray. The hives get painted the same way that the rest of the hives got done. Yellow ochre base coat, and then dry brushing a desaturated tan color over the top of that. There are also some lovely bees on one of these wall segments. I'm painting some yellow and black bands with yellow ochre and coal black, starting with a black band on the face and then alternating back and forth. For the wings, I'm using one of my favorite colors, dark gray blue, and highlighting with faded ultramarine. Okay, now we're ready to wash the models. I'm using an all-over wash with streaking grime. The idea with this stuff is that you douse the entire model, then let it dry for an hour or two, and then finally you come back in and wipe away the grime from the raised areas and any other parts of the model that you want to show through. Sometimes I'll be able to wipe away with just a dry makeup sponge, but this time it really needed a touch of mineral spirits on the brush to properly help clean the model up. I've been really loving the effects that I get from using this technique. It takes a little bit of setup, after all I'm wearing a mask to filter out the fumes and I have an air purifier going as well. Whenever you work with mineral spirits and non-acrylic paints like this, you have to be a little careful about the fumes. Other than those downsides though, it's a simple and effective technique that's really easy to pull off as long as you know what you're doing. I mentioned being excited about making another banner earlier, and now it's time to work on that. I'm starting by mixing together equal parts yellow and blue 2-part epoxy putty to mix up some green stuff. After that, I'm rolling the green stuff out into a sheet and cutting away to get the shape that I want, which is kind of an upside down triangle. I then use some silicone sculpting tools to add some little tattered parts to the edges and stuff. Once the green stuff has had time to cure, I came back in with a knife to cut it off the cutting mat. I also used some green stuff to join these two brass rods together to form the stand for the banner, and now it's time to join our banner to this piece. I'm mixing more green stuff together and rolling up 2 small cylinders to use for the loops that hold the banner to the top rod. I just jam one end of the cylinder on either side of the banner over the top of the rod, then blend it into the banner with my finger and the silicone sculpting tool. I also do the same over the center of the banner. For some reason, I decided that I needed to be absolutely sure that the banner was fully affixed to the rod, so I put a big glob of green stuff on the back of the banner connected to the rod. This looks a bit weird, and I tried to de-emphasize it as much as I could, but next time I'd either not bother or use way less green stuff. I also rolled up a bunch of the green stuff into balls, which will be eyes. The banner of eyes really seemed to me to be the perfect banner for some bee-worshipping weirdos. I'm imagining a multitude of insect eyes all staring out across the battlefield from the banner, giving my unit the ability to shoot at anything the banner can see, which is everything. Once the balls had fully dried, I mixed up a little mass that'll fit on the banner, then jammed the balls into it tightly together. Then once that was fully dried, I just glued it to the banner. Painting the banner followed a similar process to the Hive Brethren. I tried to use a similar cloth color to their robes for the banner, and then brown for the rods. The massive eyes in the middle I'm making vaguely bee-like by painting the eyes black and then using yellow for the mask that's holding all the eyes together. I'm not entirely sure what strange magics were used by the Brethren to create this weird lumpy mass full of eyes. Likely they have a powerful insectomancer amongst them. I'm also curious how the Brethren benefit from the banner being able to see things. Maybe some sort of psychic link connects them to the banner and gives them the ability to see through it. I wonder if maybe they work a bit like the Borg Collective from Star Trek. They've all lost their individuality as they become connected to the rest of the hive, including this strange mass of eyes. Okay, now it's time to work on the base. I'm coating everything with a mix of black paint and Mod Podge to seal everything in and kind of prime it for the other paint. I then dry brushed the base with the dark brown to simulate dirt. To add some flocking to the base, I'm adding some Mod Podge to the parts of the base that I want the flocking to stick to. Then I'm shaking out some green flocking to the base, letting that dry, and shaking off the excess and saving it for later. Look at my beautiful boys. They're all ready to march across the battlefields of Cyst collecting nectar and pollen for the hive. I have way more units in the works for this cult. Big bee monsters, bee riders, all sorts of wacky stuff coming in the future. But if you're jonesing for even more Turnip28 content right now, I've got a playlist with all of my other Turnip28 videos that you can watch right now. With that, I'm adding these fellas to the collection and saying, Auf Wiedersehen.